Okay, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the Space City Rottweilers podcast. I am your captain, the host, the main man of the ship, Mr. Corey. And I have my co-host here with me. What's up with it, JoJo?
What's up? What's up? How you doing, Corey?
I'm all right. How about yourself?
Man, I am blessed. I cannot complain.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
How have you been making out?
I've been great. Listen, 2020 for me has been eye-opening and blessings have just been coming all around. I've been learning lessons. 2020 has been interesting, but it's been a blessing for sure. I'm grateful that I have a job to go to. I am grateful to be in the space that I'm in, and I am grateful and blessed to just be here.
Man, all that was very encouraging for sure
Mhm.
because 2020 has definitely been interesting. With all this stuff going on, and it kind of seemed like this is how the whole entire year is going to pan out.
Okay, well, I mean, that's the thing though, like I said before, you just have to learn how to adapt and roll with the punches.
Even if you get knocked out.
Hey, even if you get knocked out, because I mean, it's like Jim Rohn used to say, it's not the blowing of the wind, it's the set of the sail,
Ooh,
right? So whatever happens will happen. You just need to learn how to make it work for you. So that's just how I've been seeing this whole situation. Like, yeah, I can have like a negative attitude about it, but what good would that do for me, you know, and the people around me?
right, right. And like yourself, I can definitely say I've been blessed with
Good.
my 2020.
Yeah.
Um, this fortunate reset that we've gotten, it kind of put a lot of different things in perspective. It's been more beneficial than not for
Hmm.
me, for the most part. Is just not being able to move around as much or as often as I would like. But I'm willing to sacrifice that for the safety of myself and the safety of my family.
Yeah, absolutely. I get that, man. I was trying to plan a trip with my friend to go to we were trying to go to a park. It's called Pedernales Park. And it's about 3 hours away. But he was like, no, I can't go that far because if I go out, then they're going to have to do 2 COVID tests on me, because he's in grad school right now. So he can't even make that trip. And I'm not going out there by myself. So it's certain things that, you just have to take into account. You can't make too many trips like that, especially when you have to constantly be around other people because you have to watch your surroundings and who you come in contact with. So it's just one of those journeys that we're on right now that we just need to figure out how to navigate, but still, keep it pleasant and enjoyable and still take time for yourself to do what's needed for you. But I don't know, we just decided on another park to go to, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, you definitely
Closer.
have to practice selflessness and a little bit of selfishness, if that's
Mm.
a word. But I'm seeing a lot of selfish people out there these days.
Oh yeah, they're really showing themselves now,
Oh, it's a lot of partying going on. But where is this park?
huh? They said it's in Blanco County, Texas.
Mm,
It's I want to say near Austin.
okay. And blanco, what? That's a color in Spanish, right?
Uh-huh, white.
That's white. Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, damn, there must be a lot of white folks out there.
Listen, though, I mean, they're very merry, will be. But I was just trying to go to the park, looking for some solitude with my friends, and there's like this So it's Pedernales Falls. So there's like a river over there. Beautiful place. And I wanted to explore so many parks in Texas this year too, but things happen. So I just have to find ones that are a little bit closer that I haven't been able to go to just yet and just explore those. And then whenever I do get that chance to step out and go out a little further out, then we'll do that. But for right now, I guess I'll really just enjoy my surroundings that I haven't been to just yet.
Right, right. And listen, folks, when I say must be a lot of white folks out there, I don't have the capabilities of adding the drums, but let me go ahead and
Right before they get you.
nah, it was a joke. But so you really into the parks? Because I think the last time we talked, we had spoke on taking the dogs out to the parks and that and things.
Yeah, I'm into that because especially like if I can be around some water too,
Mm,
I'm good for going to the park, like state parks, or
mm.
going to the beach. Like I've really been just working on my grounding.
Yeah,
So with me going to the park, I feel more in tune and I feel more energized, and I just get a lot more from trees than I can from, just being around buildings.
right,
So, and that's one of the beauties of, when I used to go to Honduras, I would be able to enjoy just that natural beauty of the world as opposed to just being around buildings. And,
right.
that's why I stay where I stay now, just to get out of the city, just to be
Right.
able to enjoy a little bit more of the natural beauty that the world has to offer.
Right. And
So
I say
that's
the same here, but I thought that's what I was doing, but it looked like the city coming this way.
I know it's headed that way. I mean, you're closer to the beach though, so
Right.
a lot of people are heading that way. That way they can be a little bit closer. But they're catching up to you.
Yeah, man. I'll probably be moving real soon.
Yeah, it's too close, huh?
Nah, I'm just messing this. It's cool out here though. I like it. I like
Yeah, it's nice over there.
it. Yeah. But unfortunately, with the all the stuff that's been going on with the 2020, it's been mostly good, but
Mhm.
I wasn't able to get a new addition to the kennel due to the pandemic, and
Oh.
just because of the because we're in the summertime, and this dog was coming from out of state, and with a lot of the airlines that are down right now, it wasn't going to be possible for me to get the dog because for one, trying to find an airline that is doing the cargo shipping for the animals
Mhm.
is really little to none. And then for two, with us being down here in Houston, Texas, in the prime time summer months, it's hot. And that
Mhm.
was going to be taking the risk of, the puppy possibly, dying or not making it here safely. So unfortunately, that new addition has to, be put on pause until a later notice. But it's all good. Everything will happen at the right time.
That's true. Damn, that's messed up though. Well, how is that process normally? Have you had that happen before to where you ended up getting a dog out of town and then I ended up transporting him here, or did you go get him, or how did that work out?
Yeah, I have actually Bruno and Chanel. They both came from Florida,
Mm.
and they were shipped through an airline, through the cargo on an airline. I believe it was United. So
Mhm.
United has ways for people to, ship animals and ship dogs. So, like for instance, eventually we'll be getting to, shipping dogs once we get to that point. But it's proper protocol and procedures that you have to follow before you actually ship a dog. Um, I, for example, have to for sure get them checked out by the vet and make sure that they're healthy. and then the airline require you to get things like a shipping cage. They have specific cages that they want you to use. Of course, it's a fee tied into that, and I believe that's it. I'm pretty sure that's it. I could be missing a few things. 'Cause like I said, I've never done it before. I've been on the receiving end of it twice, and
Mm,
it's a pretty quick process for the most part. You just communicate with the breeder on um, after they gotten the check from the vet, after the breeder does his due diligence by checking the schedule. They let you know what day the dog is going to be shipped, what time you can expect it. Of course, you can track the flight, track the dog, and you go to a specific part of the airport and go pick up your dog. Got to sign off on it and show proof of who you are and things of that such. But it's a pretty easy process.
yeah.
Of course, on what was our regular lives before the pandemic. So
Mm,
now it's kind of nearly impossible because, of course, everybody's not flying right now.
mhm.
But there are other ways, like you can ship a dog, I believe, through ground shipping.
Mm.
Shipping. I'm not too familiar with that process, but there's other ways. Or you can just simply just go pick up your dog. But depending on where you're located and where the dog is located, you might not want to drive. You know,
Right. Yeah.
16 hours, 24 hours to go get a dog, or the dog coming from overseas, there's nowhere possible for you to go drive and get that dog.
Ooh, I can only imagine what that is like getting a dog from overseas and what that process is like. I guess for the dog too, you know.
Oh man, I think it's more stressful for the dog than anybody.
Yeah, because I mean, if they have to put them in a container. Damn, is it a container or what is it? I don't want to call it that.
It's,
A
it's like
crate.
yeah, there you
A
go, great.
crate. There you go. A crate, and then like, are they under the plane, or do they put them in a chair?
I believe they're cargo, which means they go under the plane.
No, I never thought about that process.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure it's safe and ventilated and all that stuff. But I can only imagine what it's like being on the bottom of a plane. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
sitting in inside of the plane for some people it's a struggle. So imagine taking a long ride under a plane, and I think you can't necessarily feed the dog before they go because they might defecate or urinate inside the crate,
Mhm.
and they can be a real mess. So imagine the stress with that for a puppy. You know what I mean? I believe you can ship a older dog, but I want to say it's a weight requirement. So yeah, no food, no water until they get there. They give them a little food and a little water, but I don't think the puppy typically wants to eat. Because with my experience with getting Bruno and Chanel, once I got them home and stuff, it kind of was like you sit the crate down, you open the crate up, and you kind of let them just kind of come out on their own and let
Yeah.
them be
Do their
comfortable.
thing.
Because I mean it's pretty much an all day type thing for them. For the
Yeah.
breeder, for the receiver, it's an all day waiting process. But for the most part, the dog is going through the most stressful, stressful things of that trip.
That's true. So does that mean that so the breeder already had a litter ready for you? At this point, it was already scheduled, or how was that
Oh,
set up?
oh yeah, I had reserved a puppy out of the litter that breeder had, and
Mm.
we went through that whole process, and end up paying for the puppy and all of that. But I had to refund my money just because of what all had occurred. But yeah, I had another puppy on the way.
No. Well, stuff happens for a reason, and we know the next one will bring you just as much joy once you
Oh
get
yeah,
them.
for sure.
Hey, have you noticed, like ever since you have been breeding your dogs, if that's changed you as a person? Or have you noticed if it has changed you as a person?
Um,
Maybe in the way you care for things or handle things, think about things.
um, just what you mean from like the breeding process, or
Maybe for, well, I guess think about it from my perspective, right? So if once I become a dog owner
Mhm,
and then I get my dogs,
mhm.
I know my life will change, right? Because here I am caring for another being,
Right,
right? So then I know the things that I do will change, and maybe the things that I would probably think about and be selfish with, it won't be like that anymore because I have to think about this being.
right.
Have you noticed any changes in you since how long how you've had your dogs for how long now?
3 to 4 years.
3 to 4 years? Yeah, I was about to say about 5.
Nah,
But
3 to 4
yeah,
years.
but you've been entrenched in it now, so I
I
don't know if
wouldn't
you can
necessarily
really
say
say
entrenched. I mean, I'm definitely amongst the trenches of it, but yeah, I would definitely say it changed me. But I kind of was already used to it because I have kids, so it's kind
that.
of almost like taking care, like I said, basically just taking care of another being.
Hmm.
But it's a little different from having kids, of course, but it's similar in ways. But um, it changed me just with the wanting to learn more uh, on the educational side of it. You know what I mean? The do's and the don'ts and how to properly take care of these dogs versus just letting them rip and running around in the yard, or what I mean, do whatever what people say dogs do.
Yeah.
It caused me to basically wanted to raise good and healthy animals, and really
Hmm.
deep diving in on how to properly do that the right way and not just winging it, and not being afraid to ask experienced people certain questions, whether they willing to tell me, or if I gotta go somewhere else, or it kind of just opened me up to uh like talking more to my vets, or not being so reluctant on, oh, I don't want to bother this person because they might be busy. I mean, hey,
Mm.
if your child is sick, you're not going to be reluctant to calling maybe a family doctor, or a family member that is a pediatrician or a doctor. I mean, you're going to want to know.
Right.
And I think in that sense it changed me a lot, because I'm very anxious and I like to learn new things. Like each and every day, I try to either one, revisit something that I've already studied, or I try to look for, new things out there in order to improve me as a breeder and a dog owner, and two, improving the health and the life of my dogs.
Right. Okay. I hear that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm still new and still young in this thing, and I don't know everything. And it's a lot of stuff out there, and there's a lot of ways to finding it, but you have a lot of people that are reluctant to giving out information. And that's one thing that I don't really care for, the people that are breeders. I mean, you have some people that are, you know, overly competitive because they want their dogs to be the best. And you have some people that don't necessarily care about the information that what I mean, that they're giving out, or it's just from simply just asking a question.
Hmm.
uh what I mean, if you what they the old saying, closed mouths don't get fed.
Right.
You have some people that are some jerks or some a-holes
Hmm.
out there because they see you as competition.
And that's sad, man. And two, that's like one of the things that I guess I'm starting to learn about a little bit more now is that, we all really need that community.
Right.
The only way that we can all get ahead is if we all speak on what's going on, and wherever we can help, we can just help.
Right.
Like, I know a lot of people who, let's just say they get put on to something, right? And they're gonna try to keep that quiet for themselves when, the next man, they could use that help too. You know what I mean? And like, how is that gonna hurt you to help this person?
Right.
So I feel like we need to work more on community. And what was that, each one teach one from Precious. I feel like that really needs to become a thing, and
Right.
people stop being, I know we spoke on, being selfish with oneself, but not selfish in this sense of not wanting to share the wealth. Like, we all really do need one another. So if you got if you got something that could help this next person, why not help them out?
Right. And I've kind of been fortunate because I've been in contact with some really cool people who are uh, very helpful with the knowledge. They see me as a young breeder trying to eventually get to the level that they're on, and
Hmm.
they teach me things. They tell me what I need to know. I.e., like David, who we had on the podcast from A9 Rottweilers a few times so far. He's very helpful. I mean, I can call him at any time, or I can send him a text message, and hey, like he's helping me deliver my first two letters. You know what I mean? Of course, I had to do it on my own, but if I had questions, he was always there to, guide me or tell me what I needed to do. At my first letter was born what 4 o'clock in the morning, and I called him, and he kind of Corey, what's up? Well, he already knew that a litter was coming, or a possibility of some puppies coming. So he was like, oh, what's up, Corey? What you got from? You know what I mean? People like him. Uh, I've been in contact with other breeders, whether through phone call, text messages, or even on social media, that are pretty cool. With giving out information and just the encouragement. They want to see more people doing what they're doing because it helps the breed. Uh, what I mean? Go further.
Yeah.
And it kind of builds that community. We're working on getting some more of these people on and letting them tell their stories, and possibly giving out some more knowledge, because David, he's even taken it a step further. He has his own consulting now. He consults people who necessarily want to be breeders, or just have questions on how to be better pet owners. And he does that now. He offers that service.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah. And David, he's been in the game for about 20 plus years now, so you can just imagine the different type of knowledge that he has. And it's pretty cool, man, because I just like learning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can never stop learning. But on the flip side of that, I've reached out to some people before, and they don't even respond back. And sometimes with how technology is, you can see a person read your message and just ignored your ass. You know what I mean? That,
Mm,
people like that, I don't really harp on. I just shake my head like, all right, it's cool. You know what I mean? But
right.
I'm on your radar, basically. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah, it is what it is, and you move on, but you know how it is. You know what's up.
right. I mean, because it could be competition, you know what I mean? But, it could be friendly, it could not be friendly. But, how some people are when it comes to business. They say there's no friends in business. But, people like that, how far can they go? You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
you could be a big fish, you know what I mean? But are you a big fish in a small pond? You know what I mean?
Well, I guess not to dive too deep into it, but I always wondered why people would feel, as opposed to wanting to help people, and then seeing them grow, as opposed to seeing it in a way of, you pouring into somebody and then seeing them flourish into this great manifestation of you pouring into them, that they feel threatened by that, that they're just like, no, I don't want to help because then they'll be bigger than me. Who
Right.
cares if they're bigger than you? Like, think about what you just created in that person.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't know how people can feel threatened by that, as opposed to seeing how great of a thing it is. That's just always been baffling to me.
I think it's just simple being greedy, wanting it all for themselves.
Yeah.
Or they want the fame, they want the monetary gains for themselves and for themselves only. And people like that, it's very shallow. You know what I mean? You can only get so far because you can't do everything by yourself. You know what I mean?
Mhm. Yeah.
Because because even with the dog business, like eventually you're gonna have to have some type of partners. You know what I mean? You
Yeah.
can't if you're breeding dogs and you're trying to, create your own bloodline, it is gonna take you way longer to try to do it by yourself versus, you know what I mean, helping someone out and, partnering up with others because I think it's like after the fifth generation, you have your own
Hmm.
bloodline, but those first four generations, it's a lot of dogs that come and go in order to get your own bloodline. So I mean, unless you have hell amount of space and a bunch of land and you have the capabilities of taking care of hundreds of dogs at one time and you can do all this by yourself, hey, you the man. But that's
Right.
that's a lot to take on as one person. So I mean, you can't. This business requires you to have partners, and and that's just me sitting from where I sit now as a novice breeder. But it's nearly impossible for someone to be successful by themselves, and that's with any business.
Right. And that's why I'm saying that I really just, because I know before, I mean, thinking back to like, what, middle school, high school, I used to be heavy on, the rapper Zero, right? And,
Yeah,
he talks about being a loner and all this other stuff. But, that was me just trying to figure stuff out. But as you grow, you come to know that you do need people. And you can't feel so much of a way that if there's someone there that you know that you can go to for some help, that you can't ask them for help because of your pride. You know what I mean? You need to learn to kind of like set that aside and be like, hey, I'm working on this and I know you're good on this. Do you mind helping me out? Or even, throw them a little something for helping you out, especially if that's something that you know that they're good at, you know? So I feel like community is a really big thing.
right,
We all need to learn to just help one another in any way that we can, but in a way that you're not giving too much of yourself, that you're not being fulfilled either. You know
right,
what I mean?
right. And it's crazy you brought up Zero, because me being a huge Zero fan myself, as in recent years, and even I think as early as or late as this year, 2020, he's done some interviews and he's opened up a lot more than I've ever seen him open up, like to other people outside of his music.
Hmm.
And he didn't, and this is just my opinion, I could be wrong, but he didn't necessarily adapt that one deep mindset
Yeah.
off rip. He when he tells his story, he lost his mom at a young age, and he kind of been was burnt from people that he had loved and people that he cared about. So he kind of developed that mindset just off of being hurt. But even him, Mr. One Deep Entertainment, he
Hmm.
still has to have other people. Yeah, he produces his own beats, he records himself, but he still relies on, you know, a distribution company to help him put his music out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I mean, you can't do it by yourself.
Mhm. That's true.
But you know, more power to, you know, the dog breeders out there who are, you know, greedy and want it all for themselves and, you know, want the attention. You know what I mean? Keep on pushing, play. You know what I mean? But
Right.
out to all the OGs, and you know the people coming up in this game who, you know, have developed some type of community and some type of camaraderie amongst each other and amongst you know, the breed itself, and you know, help pushing it forward, man, because you know, we need each other, because you know, these dogs require us to continue to perfect our craft and continue to sharpen up our blade, because you know, we are responsible for their lives and for, you know, their progression. And you know, our clients or customers, they, you know, they trust us to, you know what I mean, give them a good product. And you know, in order to give them a good product, you have to, you know, put in good work and, you know, quality and time
Mhm.
with your, you know, with your companions, with your dogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they feel that too, you know. So as long as you're giving them that love, then you know the, especially like within that newborn stage, you know, as long as you're giving them that love, and then they go to their actual owner, they'll be able to feel that love and pass it on to the next owner,
Right,
you know. So it's about pouring into your dogs and making sure that the next person who is able to receive the gift, you know, gets something that's just as loving.
right,
Hopefully it's in one of those situations, you know. No dog fights, no dog fights.
right. Because I think me just being on, have been on both sides of it as a consumer and as a distributor of it. But for me on the consumer side, I don't think I would want to deal with someone who's not willing to, uh, you know what I mean, give me information. Like I should be able to go to a breeder and ask all type of questions. You know what I mean? Granted,
Yeah.
I have to respect them with their time, and you know what I mean, be patient with them. You know, if they don't necessarily get back to me right away, but like, you know what I mean, you don't want to go get a dog from a breeder who is not willing to, you know, answer your questions, or even, you know what I mean, have some type of conversation with you about your purchase or your interest. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
um, for all my people who are out there thinking about getting a dog or are in talks with a breeder, you know, ask questions, because you know, you're giving them your money. You know what I mean? Even though you're buying their product, they should be willing to answer any and all questions, um, you know, that you might have. And you know, sometimes you can find out the information yourself, but you know what I mean, it's okay to ask a person who is supposed to be an expert. You know what I mean? Like, you need uh that comfort that, you know, your purchase is in a good place.
Right. Like what questions do you think that they should ask as they get their puppy?
Um, for one, I think they should ask about, you know, the health of the parents.
Mhm.
Um, man, that that's a good question. Let me think about that. The health of the parents. Um, hmm, man, you put me on the spot. Um, I guess with the help comes like the history of the parents. Um, you know, how long have you been, you know, been breeding dogs?
Mm.
Um,
Do you think that matters though? How long they've been breeding dogs?
To a certain extent, yeah. I mean, because you don't want to go get your uh a heart operation done on a doctor who this is his first time. You need somebody with some type of experience and some type of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Um, the number one question is, how much are your dogs? I mean, that's cool to know,
Hmm.
but a question could be, why are your prices um at this price? You know what I mean? A lot of people hear these prices and like, woo, that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? If you feel like
Right.
it's a lot of
That's
money,
true.
ask the dog breeder why are their prices set. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
it's a lot that goes into it. And it's not just you get a dog and you breed two dogs and boom, you have a puppy. It's a lot of hard work, sweat and time that goes into it. So I mean, that could be a question that someone can ask a dog breeder. I
That
believe.
is a really good question. Yeah, I've seen certain people like they'll post their dogs or they'll post certain pets or animals that they're selling, and
Mhm.
they'll say DM me, DM me for prices and stuff like that. But sometimes some people aren't expecting that, so I don't know if that should just be a tie-in.
Nah,
No,
most breeders. I mean, because I don't do it, but people don't post their prices
right? They don't. They
uh
normally
on
say
purpose.
DM.
I mean, because for one, um, you want to have a conversation with a person. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
because I think I've had somebody on that came on my Facebook page one time because I wasn't willing to put my prices on the actual timeline. But no, don't. They tried to make it like, oh, if you don't want to tell me your prices, you must not be legit, blah blah blah. It's like, no, that's not it. I just would like to know who I'm dealing with, and if you're really serious, I mean, you would. And I tell people all the time, call, or even if you can't call, text me or even DM me if that's the
Yeah.
last resort, because you want to have a conversation. I want you to be comfortable with me and you knowing that I am a real person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So this is more so like your screening process, right? Just to make sure that they're going to a good home.
Yeah, it can definitely be seen as that, as a screening process for sure.
Mm,
Yeah, I just had another one, and I lost it.
my bad.
Nah. That was my bad for not remembering. But yeah,
As far as what questions to ask, right?
yeah. What I said, actually breeder. Ooh, I don't know what's going on with the brain today. Oh man. I knew it was gonna come back. Ask for some type of referencing. You know what I mean? Could you refer me to maybe a past client of yours? Uh,
Mm.
and so you can talk to that client and ask them about their experience with you or with that breeder. You know what I mean? Ask them for some type of reference. It's almost
And
like buying any type of good product. You want to see what do people do? They want to see the reviews. You know what I mean? So go
right,
get a
yeah.
review on that breeder. You know what I mean? Go ask around. Always ask around, because I'm pretty sure every breeder probably went through this, and if you haven't, you the man. Their first dog probably was not their best dog. You know what I mean? They probably made a mistake on getting that first dog, because a lot of people get into it when they're young. A lot of people get into it without that experience. I tell people all the time, you pay for what you get. And my first Rottweiler was a $500 dog.
Mm.
And with that $500, you get what you pay for. You know what I mean? So, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people make that mistake. Um,
Really?
but
What you mean? In what way?
what you, huh?
In what way? What do you mean?
Okay. So I'm gonna give it to you in an analogy sense. You know how you have car dealerships, right? You have say you shopping for a Mercedes. You can go get that car from a Mercedes dealership. You can go get it from a pre-owned dealership, and you can go get it from a used car lot.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you buy that Mercedes from the car dealership, or even the pre-owned certified car dealership, that car is going to come with some type of warranty or extended warranty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you go to that used lot, they have what you call a tail light warranty. And what a person, if a person like, what's a tail light warranty? Tail light warranty is once you drive that car off that lot and they don't see that tail light no more on that car, your warranty is gone. Your warranty is only good for when you end that. You know that as long as that car is on that lot, your warranty is still good. So you have a dog that you can go get from the Mercedes, or you can go get a Rottweiler or any dog from Ed's Auto Sales. And I'm saying that as the example. You know what I mean? You're taking that risk of getting what you think might be a quality dog for cheap, and that dog might not be the most healthiest dog or in the best shape. Because I put it to you like this: you gonna pay for it regardless. You either gonna pay for it on the front end or you're gonna pay for it on the back end. You can pay $500 for this what you think is a good dog for cheap, or you can go pay a higher price on a top of the line breeder who produces quality or has the rap sheet of producing quality. More than likely, which dog do you think is probably going to be the best dog and in the best shape and in the best health?
The one, and that's I was just getting ready to ask you that too. So I was like, is this all based on health? So it's
Uh, Probably 9.9 times out of 10 is definitely going to be around health
yeah.
and around if this dog is a product of proper breeding. And
Mm-hmm.
and health plays into if this dog is a product of proper breeding, because a lot of people, they just get two dogs and they think they can just pair them up, a male and a female, but it's breeder stuff that those two dogs could be brother and sister from the same litter. Not good. That could be some type of inbreeding going on. Not good, because you can definitely do some inbreeding, but you have to be a specialist at it, because there's so many different stuff that you have to pay attention to. And that's the type of stuff that goes into the price, the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh, and just if you have pride in your product and you're producing quality, why would you undercut yourself?
Right. Yeah. I see what you mean. I see what you mean. So I mean, for sure, you want to go to the Mercedes dealership or certified dealership to get that.
Right, that
Yeah.
quality car, or just that comfort knowing that, okay, if something goes wrong with my purchase, I can come back here and get my issue resolved. Versus
Mm-hmm.
this used lot or this cheaper dog, I take this dog to the vet and it has every worm in the book. You know what I mean? Or
Oh yeah.
this dog was a couple of days away from dying. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Granted, you paid $500, but to some people, $500 is a lot of money.
yeah.
And, you rather just flush $500 down the drain, or you know what I mean. You pay $500, the dog might live, but after you take the dog to the vet and get all the stuff that you might need to revive this dog or get this dog up to health, to being healthy, you paid more than what you would have paid for that quality breeder, or what I mean, from getting a puppy from that quality breeder. Like,
Right.
you pay more, you know what I mean, versus having all your T's crossed and your I's dotted yeah, it costs you a little bit more of an investment, but it all depends on what are you looking for in a dog. Like if I'm going to breed, if I'm getting into breeding and I know I want to breed, why not pay for quality? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah. I get that.
And
Yeah, might as well spend the money on it, especially on, I don't know, it's a being. You know what I mean? Spend the money on it. You want to make sure that you're getting a good quality dog that's healthy and that you could see them live for like years and years and years and years.
right. I mean, because you can definitely find you a diamond in the rough, but 9 times out of 10, it it it's it's not very likely. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Uh, and people who are doing that, I've seen have yet to see a $500 dog turn out to be top of the line or top quality.
Mm.
And
Wow.
I guess people probably see me as because I'm only have so many years of experience under my belt. They
Mm-hmm.
probably think that they can, you know what I mean? Well, I know he kind of young or whatever, or he new to this, so I'm gonna try to, bargain or, you know what I mean, see what I can get out of him. But my prices are my prices, and
Yeah.
if you don't like it, I don't, you know what I mean. I don't know what to tell you, but you know what I mean. Sorry, no sale. You know what I mean. I'm not budget. You know what I mean? Because I know what I have, and you. Would you rather deal with somebody who has confidence in their product, or you know what I mean, somebody that you can be like, well, fine, I just take your money. You know what I mean? Like I would be skeptical as somebody buying, you know what I mean, a product.
Right. That sounds skeptical. Like I'd rather you be confident and be like, no, my price is my price. And I'd be like, okay. And especially the way, because me thinking about it, I wouldn't have thought of things like that. Like I mean, I guess like health wise, yes, but I wouldn't have thought too deep into that for that to be one of the main things that I should pay attention to.
Mm.
Because you would think that, a new dog is a new dog, so it should be healthy. It's
Right,
a puppy,
right,
but the way that you're explaining it, it seems like you need to look a little bit deeper into it and just make sure that their parents are healthy and, they have, like you said, crossing their T's, dotting their I's, and everything checks out.
right.
So that opens my mind to a different perspective that I need to have when it comes to uh, getting a dog. So that's good. I didn't think about that.
And check this out. Boom. I just had another question that came to me on
Hmm.
on this topic of the prices. All right. Say you go to a breeder and you can't necessarily afford that dog right then and there, but you really want that dog, and you know that this breeder is have good product.
Right.
Talk to the breeder. Don't sit there and try to shortchange the breeder. Ask the breeder, hey, is there something we can work out, something like a payment plan? Because they are breeders that definitely have payment plans to where
Hmm.
you put down your deposit uh, for your dog, and you know what I mean. You might not necessarily get a puppy from this current litter or even the litter after that, but
Hmm.
you know what I mean. You put on a down payment and you make payments, and once you pay off the amount that is required for you to have a puppy, then you're able to get your dog. Some breeders will work with you. You know what I mean? I've definitely heard and even talked to some breeders who have payment plans implemented with their kennel. So
Yeah.
that's something that you can ask. Hey, I can only pay the deposit right now, but I know that you you tend to have litters a lot. Is there any way that I can, have, set up some type of payment plan in order for me to get a dog? And I'm pretty sure that breeder would be willing to work with you. I'm not saying all breeders do, but I know for sure it's some breeders out there that have payment plans. So that's something that you can ask a breeder.
That's a good one. Yeah. For me on that one, I would just make sure that the paperwork is in order and everything checks out. But if you're not able to really put in on that dog at that moment as they have that breed, then working something out and setting up a payment plan that seems like a great idea.
Right,
If they're willing to work with you on that.
right.
I like that. Okay.
And then my thing, if you can't necessarily afford the dog, you don't need the dog. I mean, because and I don't mean to kind of sound tone deaf about it, but if you can't afford to buy the dog, what makes you think you're going to be able to afford to take care of
Mm,
the dog? Because it goes past uh, getting
the
a cute
person.
puppy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a lot that goes into taking care of these dogs. You know what I mean?
Right.
A lot of food, and they don't stay little for long. You know what I mean? And they can eat. Uh, you if you gotten a quality dog, you won't have so many frequent vet visits. But when you get puppies, that's when they go to the vet the most until they're, maybe up to a year of age or a few months of age. And the vet visits are not so frequent or often if
Hmm.
they're healthy, or, you don't run into any type of crazy situations where the dog, something traumatic happened to the dog, or stuff like that. But um, yeah,
Look at you. How are you gonna offer up a payment plan, but then say if you can't afford the dog?
I mean, because the payment plan allows them to, get their self together and get the situation together for them and the puppy. By the time you pay off on that payment plan, you probably, gotten all the things you needed amongst however long it took you to pay to get that dog. You can skip payments. You know what I mean? It's how whatever you work out with that breeder. Or I can only pay you bi-monthly or every 3 months because I still need to go ahead and get my house together in preparation for the dog. Or simply you might have the money to buy the dog right then and there, but you want to do a payment plan because you want to, prepare for the dog. You know what I mean?
Right. That's true.
Get everything. So it's not necessarily saying you can't afford the dog, don't get the dog. You know what I mean? It just might not be the right time for that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for sure, if you can't afford the dog, don't get the dog. I mean, because you're gonna buy $1,000 dog or $5,000 dog, and yet you struggling to pay your bills. You know what I mean?
Ooh,
It
yeah.
don't,
You don't want
it,
that.
it don't really make sense. But you have people that kind of what they say. What's that saying when they make purchases off of emotion and,
Mm.
and not logic. You know what I mean? You
Mhm.
you might want this dog because it's the cutest dog in the world. And trust me, when they're puppies, they all are cute. You know what I mean? But like I said, they're gonna grow up and they're gonna get big, and eventually that cute dog, you're gonna start resenting the dog because, man, I just bought this bag of food and you done you killed it already, and then
Mm.
it's gonna build some type of, you know what I mean, unease with you and the dog, or like the dog is gonna sense that you're upset, or you know what I mean, the resentment, the whole resentment thing, and
Yeah.
that's not healthy for you, and that's not healthy for the dog.
Right. You don't want them in that environment.
Right.
I mean, sometimes some people just get it for the companionship too.
True.
So,
But you still have to take care of your companion
absolutely. Or
because
else you won't have a companion.
right. I mean, because if you're needing a companion and you're not taking care of your companion, and it, what I mean, God forbid it dies on you, then what? You know what I mean? You lost a companion and you're responsible for the loss of your companion. So whatever you
Damn.
might have been feeling before you got the companion, it's 10 times worse now. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, wee. Man, look, let me tell you what happened to me the other day. So I'm coming down the steps going to work. and I'm walking on the pathway. But it seems like when I'm on the pathway and an owner is walking their dog, for some reason they own the pathway, right? So I'm walking, I'm walking to my car, and this dog, he just walks up to me like calmly and just puts his snout on my pants. And it was a Friday, so it was casual Fridays. I was wearing jeans, but the light blue jeans.
Mm-hmm.
And he just puts his snout on my nose and then he licks me.
Oh wow.
My thing is, how come the owner didn't pull the dog away from me? Have
Yeah.
you had that happen to you before, to where a dog would just kind of run up on you and the owner won't do anything about it? Or
Yeah.
is that something that, they're just like, oh, he's just being friendly
Yeah. I've gotten
type
all that.
situation?
I've gotten all that, but that's still no excuse on you on not controlling your dog. I mean, because for one, if you're in a public environment with your dog, I don't think it's a law per se, but your dog should be on some type of leash or some type of, have some type of leash or some type of collar. And with having a dog on a leash and a collar, your dog has to be leash trained or leash and collar trained. You know what I mean?
Now, don't get me wrong, the dog was on the leash. And I know this neighbor, like I agree. I speak to all my neighbors.
Right.
Even if they may not want to speak to me, I'm just always gonna say hi.
Right.
I'm just that neighbor. But she just kind of like walked up with her dog and almost kind of stood there, and I'm like, we're not even having a conversation. Why are we just standing here and this dog is just licking me? And the dog was overpowering the walkaway, so it I just couldn't just I'm not gonna be one to just push a dog away like that.
Yeah.
So I just kind of like made my way through. But I was also kind of like, how come she didn't pull that dog away from me, like we just friends like that, like we just kiki like that?
Yeah, that just sounds like a owner that doesn't know how to control their dog because you know my dogs are friendly, but I don't sit there when I'm walking and I see other people walking towards us. I don't necessarily just go speak to them. You know what I mean? I tend to have to tell them, man, everybody don't want to speak to you. You know what I mean? You can say hi, but you know what I mean. Some people are intimidated by you. You know what I mean? Some people just don't like dogs. Some people don't want to speak, but it's up to me as as the human and as the owner to control the dog. You know what I mean? That's the whole purpose of a leash and a collar. Like it's not just for you to have that dog on a cute leash or a collar. Is you have to control the dog. Like it's not just throwing a leash and a collar on the dog and thinking the dog is going to, what I mean, do what it's supposed to do as it walks. You know what I mean, around the neighborhood or in public or wherever you are. That dog has to be trained to know what to do on that leash and collar. Because I've seen some people that walk their dogs on leash and collar, and people walking by the dog all the time, and the dog is not even bothered by the people. That's proper training, and that's
Mm,
what it should be if you are taking your dog in public. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
a respect thing because the dog is taking up the whole sidewalk type thing. That ain't cool. I can see how it easily can happen because my dogs, they love to walk. You know what I mean? I have three and I can't walk all three at the same time. The most I do is two, but like they are so excited about just walking. And if I don't walk one and walk the other, the dog who got left, they are whining and like
Oh.
they cursing me out in the way like why are you taking them and not me? But anyway, like they love to walk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like an adventure for them. You know what I mean? They sniffing around, communicating with the other dogs in the neighborhood with the sniffing and the peeing and like, oh, I've been here. You know what I mean? Let me leave this for old Bubba up the street. And they seeing the different people or the cars that drive by. It's just a different experience for them. But uh, I can definitely see like how the whole taking up the sidewalk thing can easily happen with an excited dog. But for that lady or for that neighbor to have let that dog just come and just sniff you and you know what I mean, lick you. I mean, it was cool that the dog was friendly. Granted that the dog was friendly, but still, like, man, control your animal.
Right. And that was my thing. Good thing that I guess I've come into this space now to where I know not to really be afraid of dogs or their touch or whatever. So the fact that the dog even walked up to me and was super gentle and just put his snout on me, but then he licked me and then I had grass stains on my pants. I mean, it wasn't too bad. I was able to get it out with my wipes,
Yeah.
but it was just, we could have avoided this.
Right.
It was just a different experience for me,
Right.
I guess I could say.
Yeah, but shout out to you for not necessarily taking it out on the dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I wouldn't. And I mean, if I wasn't going to work, I probably would have pet it, but I was going to work and I didn't want to touch him.
Yeah, I feel you.
So,
Because for one, you don't know where that dog has been,
right.
and a lot of people don't properly take care of their dogs as they should, and you could touch any animal, and they have how they have airborne diseases. Like it's a lot of stuff that you can get just by simply touching an animal. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be precautious. But check this out. I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
With this experience that you just had, and I'm gonna make I guess like a general question that kind of relates to this. To you, what is the the proper way or the best way for me being your neighbor and I have dogs? What do you expect from me as your neighbor that owns the dogs?
Mm, well, I know I wouldn't want the dogs to just run up on me,
Mm-hmm.
for one, so I would want them to be on the leash. And I mean, this is an apartment, so I would want your dog to be on a leash. Like, if you see that your dog is barking at me, make sure that you have a grip on your dog. Because I don't want that dog to just take off on me. Because, I mean, there is a little dog, but the little dogs that make the most noise, right?
Right.
That'll just start barking and barking. And we have walked side by side and it hasn't done anything. So I'm okay with that. So just as long as I guess uh, you have a hold on your dog and your dog isn't just going to take off on me, then I'm fine. Because like I said, I've just come into this space now to where I am comfortable with dogs. So just as long as, I guess my main thing is my safety.
Right.
So if your dog is barking at me and is showing teeth, then I'm going to be a little scared. you know, like I was actually helping out a patient and I stepped outside um to fix his glasses, or to give him back his glasses, I guess I should say. And his dog was in the car and he started barking at me because I started to get a little close. And then the owner was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" Talking to his dog, correcting him. And then me knowing that he had a hold on his dog, and like making sure that the dog was tamed, that made me feel secure. Like, okay, I'm good. He has a hold on his dog. I'm good. So my main thing is really just my safety. Like, I don't care about them uh, barking as long as you have a hold on them. So that's really my main thing. You just have a hold on your dog, making sure that they don't get too close to me. But like, if they're being friendly, so like I didn't mind that dog because he was being friendly, and I was like, oh my god, what a gentle dog,
Mm-hmm.
because he just walked up to me, and then he first put his snout on me, and then he licked me, and I was like, damn, did you have to lick me?
Yeah.
But I know that's how they are, so I was like, okay. So I just go to my car and I wipe up and I'm fine. And I'm fine.
Right.
But once they get the barking and all of that, that's too much for me. I don't want to hear all that.
Right.
'Cause now I feel a little, I don't want to say threatened, but I feel like I should be on edge if they start barking. The bigger ones, not the smaller ones, because we know the smaller ones make the most noise.
Now, what about if you not necessarily in contact with the dog, but you can hear the barking? Like, let's just say your next door neighbor dog is constantly barking, or you know what I mean? It makes noise from time to time. Wh-
Oh, knock on wood. I haven't heard that.
Well, yeah, knock on wood, but I'm just asking you, what would you do in that situation, or what would you expect from the owner of that dog?
Damn. Um,
Like, would you complain, or would you reach out to the neighbor, or would you go ahead and call authorities and saying, "Hey, my neighbor dog is just constantly barking"? Like, what would be your steps on how to assess the situation?
damn. You know what? To be honest, Corey, because I'm not really one to complain. I feel like in a situation like that, I would probably, that would just give me another reason to move. you
Oh.
know?
Okay.
I would be like, okay, time to move. Let's work something else out, as if it's not already in the plans.
Right,
But I would just be like, okay, that's another reason to move. So like let's do something. What else can we do to like speed this process along?
right,
That would be my thing because I don't really want to complain on neighbors because I feel like dogs maybe yeah you can control them in that sense to where that they would know to calm down and they can do certain things, but I don't know because I wouldn't want my neighbors complaining about anything that I have going on in my space.
right, right, right.
So for me to do something like that to somebody else, it's like, then why would you get mad at them for complaining about you? So me personally, I would just, I wouldn't complain. I would just take it for what it is. But now, if it becomes an issue where the dog is like barking late at night and like you're keeping me up, I may go next door and say something.
Yeah,
I may go next door and say something because now you're like really messing with like my sleep patterns, and I have to get up and go to work. I don't want to deal with that. Then I would say something just to see if it'll get resolved. But if not to them, I don't know. And see, that's the thing. I don't know if I should go personally and speak to them or bring like a mediator to say something.
mm,
I don't know, to just like complain to the apartments and say, "Hey, this dog is barking, all night long." Because I
right.
remember getting an email saying, I guess like maybe like 2 months ago or maybe like a month ago, where the apartment was saying we should not be receiving calls about day-to-day living noises. So it is what it is type thing.
Yeah,
Which thankfully I wasn't hearing it. So when I saw that message, I was just laughing. But I could just imagine somebody hearing that, because I can hear my neighbors downstairs when they're walking around, and I'm like, damn, y'all gotta make all that noise.
yeah,
I feel bad for the people under them,
right.
but I don't know. In that situation, I have yet to think if I should go directly to the neighbor or if I should just complain to the apartment.
I think it should be proper steps that you should take, proper measures. I think just going off with the complaining, or I mean, calling the authorities after the first time, or without making some type of contact with the neighbor is a bit extreme. I think, me personally, for one, I would, what I mean, assess the situation myself first, like check it out to see if it's something frequent that goes on with the dog, or like, what I mean, see if something was going on, like maybe the dog was barking for a reason, like, because sometimes in some instances that dog barking might be protecting you in some type of way. You know what I mean? Because they sent some things, or they could, you know what I mean? They saw something, or you know what I mean, or felt something coming on, and they was
Yeah.
warning you. And me just, being around, I could be some type of collateral with knowing, like, oh snap, you know what I mean? It's burglars in the neighborhood. Shout out to my neighbor dog for letting me know.
Yeah.
I would take that step first. But if it's something like constantly like barking all day or even all night, I would, politely go, ask my neighbor if they could, you know, keep their dog down, or, see how, give them the opportunity to fix the situation first. And then, the proper steps after that, if it continues, then you can, complain to who you need to complain to, or, you know what I mean? Because I think just being a dog owner or just a pet owner, but we're gonna keep it dog related. Me being a dog owner, it's my responsibility to have some type of control of my animals, whether it be here at the house, out in public, in our own setting. You don't want to not have some type of control or some type of training with your dog. Because if your dog is not trained or have some type of control, certain breeds and certain dogs, they will run over you. You know what I mean? And if you don't correct it, it'll be a problem. It'll be an ongoing problem. And if you have a big dog and you can't control the big dog, dogs are strong, and you know what I mean. You can't control that dog, you in some trouble. You know what I mean? Because anything can happen, whether it be damage to your property or putting other people at harm. So it's a responsibility with being a owner or a breeder, or you know what I mean, just being some type of caregiver for the dogs, or even just being around the dog. You know what I mean? It's some type of responsibility and accountability in it. So I I definitely feel people who are not necessarily animal friendly or dog friendly, but just because you're not comfortable with these dogs or with your neighbor that has a dog, don't go being a jerk or a butthole about it. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost, that goes back to that community thing that we was talking about earlier. Have a conversation with the person with the dog, and maybe just by having that simple conversation could fix the situation. Maybe they would, bring that dog in uh, after a certain time at night, or you know what I mean. Just, I don't know, whatever the situation might call. But if it, this person is a butthole about, their responsibility for being a dog owner, then you can, go further.
Yeah. I see that. Then I see that. Then I would do that. Because I think I would rather that too. You know what I mean? Somebody just come and speak to me about whatever I'm doing rather than going to somebody else. Because I'd be like, what? You had to go to somebody else? You childish, you know?
Right.
So I can see that perspective.
Yeah.
You're right. I would take that then. I will go speak directly to them and, see if it gets worked out. But if it doesn't, then I'm bringing somebody else to take care of it.
Right. But I guess we kind of like stepping into my favorite part of the show. On, is JoJo ready for her furry family member?
I like their little intro music. That's cute.
So where we at with it? Are you ready, or what? How you feeling? You sound like you're getting more comfortable with the dog. This sounds like a big sign that you could possibly be getting your dog soon.
I am comfortable. I can definitely say that. I know I definitely want a dog. I'm still not there yet.
And the crowd goes, "Oh, still not ready, folks. We live in for next episode. JoJo gets her dog.
On Space City Rottweilers.
Cool. It's all about the timing. But we're looking forward for that day that JoJo gets her dog.
I am too, though. I'm not gonna lie. I'm ready to get my dog, but listen, like you said, timing, and I told you I want to be in the house before I get my dog, so um, that time will come, just
Yeah,
not now.
I feel you.
Mhm.
But I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up at this point. You know what I mean? Leave a little bit more for next week on the Space City Rottweilers podcast.
Yes. Okay. Well, let me say this before we leave. Now that we're wrapping up, you guys, if you have not seen Black is King, a film by Beyonce on Disney Plus, do yourself a favor and go watch it.
Really,
You will not regret it. Yes.
really,
Yes. And then to you, Corey, for having like a little girl too. Ooh, you have to show her this.
man, you're the first person who I've heard who I don't want to say speaking highly of it. I think what it was for some people, they stepped into it thinking that it was something else. But when I, you know, because they've come to me with like, man, what is this? To be honest, I'm like, dude, it's a visual album. I'm like, oh, I thought it was. They thought it was a movie or something like that. They
Oh.
type of expectation that it was something that it was not. So they didn't. So they started watching it and they was a little confused, and they kind of turned it off. You know what I mean?
And see,
I
that's the thing.
huh?
Go ahead, go ahead. What were you about to say?
No, so I haven't actually sat down and watched it for myself, but not saying that I am, but I haven't. I've gone to listen to what other people had to say about their experience with it, and it just was like they had some type of expectation, and it didn't meet their expectation. Not saying that it was bad, but like I said, they walked into it not expecting a visual album.
Yeah. And so the album was The Gift. And that really came from when she was working on The Lion King,
Right.
right? So you have to think of it more so as um The Lion King,
Mm-hmm.
but from a black royal family. You
Mm,
have to think about it like that.
mm,
So with Beyonce, I feel like you really have to go into her work, not really having expectations.
right.
Because although she will exceed your expectations from what she's done before, but you just have to don't put a cap on her, don't put a lid on her.
Right.
Let her just give you what she wants to give you, and then just view it from there. Because it's such a great film. It's like I want to say take it back to like the black classic, The Wiz.
Never seen it.
You've never seen The Wiz?
I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I haven't seen it in whole totality.
But you've seen The Wizard of Oz, though, right?
I haven't seen it in whole totality.
Damn. Damn, Corey, I gotta put you on.
But what?
So, I mean, for those of you who do know what I'm talking about and that perspective, but I would say, go in there with no expectation, and then just take it in for what she's giving you. It's such a great film. Like, it's such a great feel good film too.
Really?
Like, yes, like I kid you not. And not because, or maybe so, but I was gonna say not because I'm like a huge Beyonce fan.
Beehive alert.
But man, I cried once it got to a certain part. Like once it got to Brown Skin Girl, I cried.
Really?
Yes, I just could not control myself. Like I continued crying up until like the middle of the next song.
Wow.
Like, once you watch it, it's just she's really just giving that. She's really just showing representation.
Right.
You know
So
what I mean? And it's a good feeling. It's something I feel that it should be in every home.
so is it the music? Is it the visual, or is it both of them together that kind of made the experience what it was for you?
To be honest, I want to say it's both of them together because
Okay.
we got the album last year
Mhm.
and she's just now putting out that visual album, right?
Right.
So I did hear the album, but as far as Beyonce is concerned, normally when she puts out her personal body of work, I'm all into it. But with this one, I wasn't really listening to it as a regular Beyonce album.
Right.
Once I got this visual with it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a great album. So now I listen to the album like front to back. I even play it while I'm at work. I'm giving her streams.
Wow. So the music was already out.
Yeah, she put out the album last year.
I didn't know that. See, I thought this was just a completely new project, music,
Mm-mm.
visuals, and all.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So they didn't even promote that album. So
See,
she
and,
did it.
and that's why I didn't know, because Beyonce, she's been a little unorthodox with her releases these past few albums. You know what I mean? She
Hmm.
she drops on whenever she wants, basically. So when I heard about it, I thought it was a movie myself that that had came out, but then I had listened to other people talking about it. And I was like, oh, it's a visual album because she kind of does that pretty much with her last few projects. Put a visual album, which I like the idea of it. You know what I mean? But
Oh
that's
yeah.
pretty cool. I'm gonna have to check it out, man, because it's crazy. I watched The Lion King with my daughter last night, but we watched the original one.
Mm.
She's still kind of very, very young, and don't necessarily really know what's going on. So it was more so me watching it than her. But that's cool. I kind of I'm gonna put that in the memory bank. So when it's time, or a little bit later on down the road, when she's able to understand and kind of dissect and know what's going on, I might pull that up for her.
Yeah, I mean, even now, you know what I mean? Because it's just, it's a great experience, Corey. Like, I ended up I told my dad, I was like, listen, you're gonna watch this with me. So I ended up watching it with him on Sunday, and he was like, thank you so much for showing this to me. I really enjoyed it. And then they have the Afro beats on there. I don't know if you even heard the album, but it's such a great album. Beyonce, if you're listening to this, you did that, girl, and I love you.
Beyonce, if you listening to this, thank you.
Yes, thank you, girl. You're
No, thank you for listening.
the
No, for sure. But no, thank you for being who you are, and thank you for doing what you've been doing, for sure, and continue to be Miss Beyonce. No, no car.
Yes.
Um, man,
Yeah, I just wanted to add that on there before we left out.
man, it's all good. I definitely appreciate you for inserting that, man. Shout out to all my Beyonce fans.
Yes. Let's connect, y'all.
But check it out, y'all. It might be a big announcement coming real soon. So y'all stay tuned. Continue to listen to us on the Space City Rottweilers podcast, because we are available on all major podcast platforms. If Apple is your podcast of taste, if Spotify is your podcast platform of taste, Google, iHeartRadio, whatever floats your boat, we are now available on all major podcast platforms, and we are now going to start putting our visual versions of our podcast on YouTube. So y'all continue to follow. Go ahead and hit that like, hit that subscribe button to the channel, to the podcast, and you never know, you might be getting some exclusive content, because like I said, we have some stuff brewing in the pot, and it could be coming to a simmer, and put to be dished out to you real soon. So y'all continue to follow us at Space City Rottweilers on all social media platforms. And, hit that email at spacecityrottweilers18@gmail.com. Or if you have any type of concerns and you want to hit me directly, you can reach me at 281-299-8998. Again, this is your captain speaking. We will be landing the ship now. Jojo, you got anything you want to add before we get on up out of here?
That was it. You guys just go ahead and subscribe. And if you stayed to the end of this, thank you so much for listening. We appreciate you. And we'll see y'all next time.
Y'all be safe out there.
Y'all stay safe.
Peace.